Hello, I'm Charlotte Jessup and welcome to the Looking After Your Pennies YouTube channel. Today I'm talking all about net worth and why I think you should be tracking it. So I've been tracking our net worth for a while now and I think it's a really super useful tool and I find it really motivating. Now I'm going to tell you all about what it is and how you can calculate it. So what is net worth? So net worth is basically how much money you've got if you was to sell everything and collect in the cash. Okay, it's not quite as simple as that, and there are different ways that we can work it out, and actually it's kind of a hotly debated topic. So you could go from myself to someone else that's in the personal finance sphere, and they might have a slightly different view about what net worth is, but in general we all agree that it's something that you should be keeping an eye on and that it can actually be really useful to track it. Net worth is calculated by looking at your assets and taking from your assets your debts, so the things that you owe. So that's everything that you own minus the things that you owe somebody else. And what you get at the end is your net worth figure. So what are your assets? So this is one of the things that people slightly disagree on, and like I say, you could go from one person to the next person and they would give you a slightly different list about what counts as an asset and what counts as a debt and what which things come into which category. So typically, debts are the things that you own. So this would include your house, and that would be the total value of your house. It would be things like the amount you have in investments, your pension pot. It would be the amount of cash you have in your savings, anything that's worth something and isn't rapidly losing value. So if you've got like a gold bar under your bed, the value of that is also going to go in the assets column of your net worth. Now, what counts then as a debt, as something that you owe? So these are literally the things that we typically think of as your debts. So this could be your mortgage. So that's why I said to take the total value of your house when you were thinking of an asset. So yeah, it'll be your mortgage, any credit card debt you have, any student loans you have, and any other loans you have, maybe like a car loan or basically anything that you owe to somebody else. This includes to friends and family as well. So if it's something you've got to give back at some point, then you've got to subtract that from your total. Now, some of you watching this might be thinking, well, Charlotte, that's all great, but I've ended up with a negative number. So what do I do with that? That is fine. It's okay to calculate your net worth and end up with a negative number or a positive number. What you want to try and do is create a positive number and grow that positive number into an even bigger number over time. So even calculating your net worth now and finding that it's negative, you can go through the process of understanding what your net worth is and using that to build your financial future. So if you calculate your net worth and it's negative, still write that down. We're going to work on that and we're going to turn that into a big positive number. So why should you do it? Well, first of all, it gives you this list of things that you own and the things that you owe. Okay, so that's things that you own and the things that you owe. Now, keeping that list can be kind of therapeutic, but it's also very organised. Having that distinct list of the things that you owe gives you something to tackle, it gives you something to work on. Now, if you're a member of the debt-free community or you're working towards it, you may already have a list like this and be working to clear that debt. But if you're the sort of person that's like, oh yeah, I've got a couple of credit cards and I've got a student loan, but I don't know exactly how much they are, now is your time to find out. Going and looking and seeing how much it is that you owe gives you an idea, gives you a clearer idea of what it is that you need to do to get into a better position with your money. Likewise, it's also great to know how much the things that you have are actually worth. So maybe you haven't thought about how much your house is worth in a while, or maybe you haven't checked the value of your pension, or maybe you haven't thought about your investments or your saving. Finding out your net worth, you go through that process of finding out, and you have these lists, you keep these records, and it's just a very good financially organized thing to do. The second thing that's great about it is it gives you something to work on. You might find out that your house is worth a certain amount, but actually there's some things that you could do around the home that could increase its value. You might find that you have a pension, but it's not growing particularly well. And actually, if you moved your pension to somewhere else, you could get a better return on that investment and therefore increase your pension pot, or maybe you could even think about upping your pension's contributions. So that's another great way that you can increase your net worth. You might also think, oh, actually, I could start investing a bit more. I put a bit more money into your investments. You may look at your savings and think, oh, well, I'm not getting a great return on these savings, so maybe I could put them somewhere else. When you start looking at how you can grow your assets, you start making changes to improve the amount of money that you have. Likewise, with your debt, you can start making steps to reducing those amounts. So perhaps you've never even thought about paying off your student loan. What could you do? Could you pay off a little bit extra? Same goes for your mortgage. Maybe you could start overpaying on your mortgage so you can reduce the amount that you owe and maybe shave a bit off the interest payments. And then actually your net worth can grow in both ends by reducing your debt and increasing your assets, and you will start to see your net worth grow and grow and grow. And the great thing about this is it keeps you accountable. You look for ways to increase that number all the time, and by increasing that number you can create some really great things in your life. You might be able to bring your retirement date forward a bit. You might start looking for better ways to improve your investments, and all these things can bring you greater wealth and just great things in general into your life. So I urge you to go and find a way to track your net worth. Now, there are some great resources online. You can find net worth calculators. I will link some of those below. Or you can just do it yourself, a simple spreadsheet where you get those totals. You can use some resources online, so use things like Rightmove to find out the value of your house, get the bank accounts out so you can see how much you got left on your mortgage and various other bits and pieces, and record all that in a spreadsheet or use a net worth calculator tool. So my challenge for you is to find out what your net worth is and look for ways to make that number go up. If you've liked today's video, make sure you give me a like below, and if you want more videos like this, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss a single one. Thank you for watching today, and I will see you in the next one.